And okay, I think we just hit the 1 o'clock mark. So I'm going to turn my head to the camera and say welcome, everybody. My name is Jacob Soderberg. I am Chief Sales Officer here at Synergy XR, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar on procedure training. And with me today, I have Lasse. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, Jake. I'm really glad to be here. Always a pleasure to be in your company.
Yes, likewise.
I'm Lasse, and I'm a Customer Success Manager here at Synergy XR. Here to have a little conversation with you about procedure training.
Yeah, and important to say that we're actually gonna do a quick shuffle during the webinar and have some real life persons from the real world, not just inside of Synergy XR, to join us and have them unfold their story. But we're gonna be talking today about procedure training in VR, and let's just put a quick definition on that. So. The training, obviously, it covers a lot of different areas, right?
There's a lot of ground to cover, but I guess the highlights you have done here with the red are the areas of the training spectrum that we're going to look at.
So we're going to focus in on the technical skills training and safety training, and in this case, it's all about teaching this guy who's currently operating his drill to. First of all, teach him how to do that properly, but also to make sure that he doesn't cut any holes in his hands or co-workers' hands or anything. So there's so many dimensions to that, and we're going to cover that all through the way.
Very exciting areas and very tangible as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. So just to give you a quick visualization of what we're talking about, this is an example of a VR training in Synergy XR, pretty similar to the guy drilling holes in this case.
It's actually our demo procedure training that we have done that from now.
I think it's available already now.
It's already available now. Yeah, you can actually try it out on our platform
for absolutely free. So this is how it looks like when we talk about VR, and this is just one example of procedure training going on in VR. There's so many options, so we're going to cover a lot of that. Just real quick intro to today's agenda. Of course, we will always kind of just start by recapping what is it that we do today and why is that flawed. And then we're going to go through the benefits of training in VR. That's mainly going to be you and I, Lasse, covering these two items. Then we're going to do the quick shuffle and invite Camilla and Helle from Isover.
Our good friends at Isover.
They're going to be kind of sharing their story and what they were facing. And then we're going to give you a quick pathway to how to get there if you're interested in that. So that's basically the program of today. And we're going to be excited about sharing this. And we're going to be sharing in the comments section also a lot of the links to some of the sources we have been using over this slide deck that we're using to kind of support our messaging. But let's dive into how training is done today and why perhaps there's room for improvement. And
improvement.
Right. And again, I think perhaps we should just start by saying that when we talk about VR training, we're not talking about a replacement completely.
No. It's an add-on.
It's an add-on.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a supplement to your existing toolbox, but a very powerful supplement. Yeah. Let's look at why it's why there's room for improvement. That's the diplomatic way of saying that
you're always so diplomatic.
Yes. 2 years in the diplomatic corps kind of did that to me. So of course. Time consuming. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, well, the time that you have to use, having a trainer next to you, being on site, maybe on the production floor. You can't really train that many people at a time. You have to train within a certain window, right?
Yeah.
So downtime of machinery as well. So it is very time consuming.
We're going to be sharing some examples of companies that we've worked with that have some great numbers of how to improve your existing way of doing business. But let's just conclude this, that, hey, it's time consuming. That's one of the flaws that we're currently looking at. Another one is, I think we already mentioned that. Yeah, it's actually...
the danger of just walking on a production floor that you don't know, right? As a new employee.
Yeah, I mean, we have visited some prospects together, and wearing a hard hat, making sure you don't touch anything, wearing shoes that
glasses and the vest and all the things there. Of course, you need to wear that, but it also takes a bit of focus on where you're actually going. Yeah,
completely. So it's dangerous, and not only to yourself but also to your coworkers if people are not behaving as they should. It is. So we got to put that in mind. Yeah. And of course, hey, I think we can all relate to the good old classroom training. In this case, I think it's a bunch of uninspired people and an uninspired teacher looking at something that looks like death by PowerPoint, or I don't know.
I've heard that a couple of times. Talking to customers that we have one specific client, when a new employee starts at their place, they get a PowerPoint deck of 44 slides. Oof. So please go through that, boring theory stuff. And then 14 days after, they get a new deck with 22 slides.
Oh, my Lord.
So, So
that's brutal.
Not that engaging.
No. Not at all. So let's try to just quickly sum this up and have a look at what's wrong with the current approach. Of course, we cover that. It's super. It's expensive, right?
It's expensive, yeah. Just taking the travel costs again. An example: we are working with a Norwegian company in the maritime industry.
Yeah.
They have all their colleagues and workers transported from around the world to Norway because they have a physical simulator on a location there, which they have to train on. It costs
it's
a
expensive
lot.
and time consuming.
Expensive, Why not do it some of the training in VR? Again, it's not a substitution, but if they can go, like 40-50% of the way and save some travel costs, it's a huge win for them.
Yeah. Absolutely. We also talked briefly about why it's risky business to
walking on a production floor. You've never been there. You're a new employee. You have so much going on, so many inputs starting at a new place, and then also having to be aware of what's happening around you. Is there a truck coming around the corner? Or can I walk here? Keep in the lines, and it's also creating a dangerous what do you say?
Dangerous situation.
Yes,
absolutely.
That was a word for the trainer and the colleagues in general.
Yeah. And of course, the classroom training that we saw briefly, it's hard to learn.
Yeah.
I know one of my favorite topics, and I know we share that, is the whole muscle memory. I said it first, memory. So walk us through that. What muscle memory?
Well, think about if you have to learn how to change the tire on a car. So how do you learn the best way? Is it by reading about it, going through bullets? Or is it actually to do it? Yeah. So once you've done it, you know it. And that's because of the muscle memory. Yeah. You learn so much quicker.
And it actually sticks.
It sticks.
Yeah. So it's important. So let's just dive into the conclusion to what we just been through here. That poorly trained employees can create a dangerous work environment and increase the chances of workplace injuries. Yeah. Everybody wants to avoid that, but let's dive a little deeper into that and just put a few numbers in it, because it's all about, it's not only just about numbers, it's also keeping people safe, but there is a financial cost related to this. And
that number keeps amazing me in a bad way.
$163 billion.
But what does that cover?
Yeah, so this number actually covers a lot of different things. It includes wage and productivity losses.
Okay.
It includes medical expenses, administrative expenses, and employers' uninsured costs, and it all adds up to this huge number. So even if you can decrease the number just by a fraction, it's still going to be a big number. Yeah. So there's a huge benefit connected to actually reducing injuries on the workplace.
Just
go
have
ahead.
in mind that's in the States only.
Yeah, it's only in the United States. Those were the only sources we could find when we kind of dug deep into this, and still it's a great number. Great in the sense it's very big. I would love to see that number much closer to zero, right? So here's some other numbers just to cover that really quickly to make sure that hey, it's also about time, and like Uncle Scrooge said, time is money, right?
It is.
So if you can reduce time, and let's just have a look at the number, 99 million.
Yeah, we talked about that number yesterday.
Total days lost due to work-related injuries in the United States.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
And 99 million days, what is that in years? I think, was it 271,000 years or something like that? It's.
I think it's fair to say that there's room for improvement. Yeah, and if we can reduce this number by just a fraction, that's going to be huge on the bottom line of any financial statement. 50 million, that's the estimated number of days lost in the future from previous work injuries. Okay. So there's not only like, we want to reduce this right now, but it's going to have a huge impact on the future as well. So we really want to keep that number down. So final number that we're going to cover real quick, and then we're going to move on to another derived effect of poorly trained people. But the last number that we're going to look at here is 1.3 million. That's the average cost of a work-related death in United States and obviously everybody wants to avoid people getting killed on the workplace, right? So the numbers are big. If you can minimize this, you have a great case for looking better on financial statements. Everybody wants to avoid that ugly headline on the tabloid news that people are getting killed when they go to work at this and this company. That doesn't look good anywhere. Shareholder value and so forth. It's super important that we really put focus on this. And now we have a technological tool to actually help decrease this number.
Yes.
So we are going to look a little bit about one of the other derived effects of poorly trained people, which is production downtime, which is also super expensive. And again, we were recently at a plant where they rely heavily on training they have a lot of turnover, and within 12 months, new staff are pretty much self-driven.
Yeah,
but during those 12 months, that's a long time where you need a side-by-side guy who can tell you how to do this and that, right?
The risk of errors, and the consequences that these errors have. For the whole production line, for the whole supply chain in general.
It's amazing. Yeah. So we're going to dive a little bit into the production downtime of things and have a look at it. $50 billion. So I'm sorry, these are big numbers, but we'll share the sources to these numbers in the comments section at some point. And
50 billion, big number.
The estimated overall annual cost of unplanned downtime. Of course, all machinery needs downtime at some point where you need to do kind of maintenance, but this is unplanned downtime.
Unplanned, yeah.
Unplanned downtime.
And what does that mean for the average manufacturer?
It's, what was it? I think it was around 800 hours of unplanned downtime when we kind of dove a little deeper into the numbers. It's a lot. Of production line not working. Imagine an automotive company like a car manufacturer. The production line that stands still, it's expensive. I think one of the numbers we dug out was $22,000 per minute, which is That's a lot.
That's a lot.
I think we can say that without
reducing the downtime with 10%. Hey, good case.
That's going to show on the bottom line of your financial statement for sure. So unless you are one of those 18% companies that do never experience unplanned downtime, and you are among the 82 percent of all companies that experience this, then there's room for improvement, and this is really a so-called low-hanging fruit to look into to kind of prevent downtime, at least unplanned downtime, right?
Yeah, and of course you can't guard yourself completely against unplanned downtime. It's impossible. But again, as you say, just minimizing it. That's going to show big time on. Going to show the
financial statement. Okay, so I think we set the scene now. There's a lot of reasons to discuss why VR is a great supplement to that. So let's look a little further into this and talk about what's the great thing about virtual training. So you want to add a few words to this?
The three big headlines here, right? Faster, less risk, and it's more effective. So just being able to do it faster, being able to train people when they also have time, and not only when you have the window.
I think we have an example from one of our customers, Grundfos, a really great customer of ours. They did the calculations, and what was it?
They had a case where they had this, I think it was a press, well, at least a machine that needed to run, more or less like 24/7, and they had some maintenance every Sunday, so that was the particular window where they could do some training on that machine. So only on Sundays doing the training, and only for a few hours at a time. So it took more or less 6 weeks to train a new guy on that machine. And we did a simulation of it in VR, and took more or less a guy from the street, and he was taught how to handle this machine in VR, and we took the training from 6 weeks to 4 days.
It's wow. From 6 weeks to 4 days.
6 weeks to 4 days.
I guess you can measure that on your financial statement.
Definitely.
At least. So a lot faster training and getting people up to speed quickly. And again, the case that I referred to just a moment ago with new employees that need up to 12 months before they're self-driven. And if you can reduce that number down to 9-10 months, I mean, that's going to be readable on the financial statement, right?
That's a good case, definitely.
It's a very good case.
And also, without having the risk, which is the second headline here. So being able to do it in a safe environment, not having to be on the production floor with everything else going on, which is going on the production floor. And not putting your colleagues into risk either. Hey, it's a no-brainer for me.
Absolutely. And ultimately, it's so much more effective than being, for example, in a classroom, listening to an unengaged teacher. We talked about already the muscle memory.
Muscle memory.
It's so amazing. I mean, it's crazy. And again, we can go from one-to-one learning to one-to-many, since you can also have an instructor in VR guiding you. But instead of being... Sorry, I'm going to let you chime in a second. So instead of being at the same physical location, you can actually have people join in from remote locations, still have the instructor there. And your point was what?
Exactly. And that's all about, training in your own time, or when your colleagues are ready. That's entirely up to you. So you can sit in your sofa at home and do the training for the next day. Or you can meet up with your colleagues again in a safe environment and do the training. So it's very flexible in that matter.
And again, the example you brought up earlier with the Norwegian company, you don't necessarily have to be in a $500,000 euro simulator to do like training how to navigate. You can do that in VR.
Yeah, exactly. And
right?
in that specific case, they also need to be certified. They can't do that in VR. They still need to go to Norway and do the training on the physical machine to get their certification. But if they can get, go 50 or 60% of the way in VR without having to go to Norway, that
again, it's expensive equipment, and if you can kind of learn the basics before you actually jump into the simulation,
you don't need a trainer to learn the basics. So
exactly. So let's jump into to why is now the right time to get started. And again, I think we already covered a lot of what's going on with some of the consequences of poorly trained people. Why is now a great time? Let's just jump into that right off the bat here.
Yeah. Why not now?
Yeah.
Your
Excuse me, Your Honor. Leading question. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry.
Your competitors are doing it now. So just go ahead and dip your toes in the XR tool. And for me, the procedure training is a very tangible way of getting started, which creates value from day number one. Yeah. So,
and as opposed to not that long time ago, you actually needed like 6, 7, 8 months of preparation before you had something that you hopefully would be able to train people.
The development of the tech is also in our favor. Earlier on you had to have a stationary PC with cables to your headset and to your controllers and stuff like that. But hey, today it's the standalone devices that we're working with, and so don't be afraid of the tech.
Nope.
Once
Embrace
you tried it
the tech
once or twice, then you know it. There's also a reason why children are playing with VR without having the help from adults. It's
Absolutely.
easy. It's easy to get started with. Yeah.
So another thing is, hey, few are doing this yet because it has been, at least from a historic viewpoint, expensive, time-consuming to actually build VR training. We're at a different place now where it's actually super cheap and super cheap compared to the cost. It's super cheap. I think we can agree on that, right?
It is super cheap, yeah. So talking about our platform, you have the standard platform, and then the only thing that needs to be developed is the procedure training, which we put on top of the standard platform. So it is very cheap compared to these custom applications that we normally see with when we're talking procedure trainings.
Yeah. And another important point, I think, is that currently we're looking into like an overarching trend of an older generation that's currently going to retirement. So there's a lot of skills and knowledge that's accumulated. Tsunami. The silver tsunami is one of the terms used for that. So almost every company needs to kind of capture all that knowledge, and then they need to convey that to the next generation. And they're not going to be satisfied being put in a classroom with a 66 slide.
There are other expectations.
So adding VR to that equation actually helps at least some of the companies that we're working with to attract new talent.
Definitely.
So that's very important to bear in mind too, that you actually get that edge over the competition, and it's all about attracting.
So you're in the forefront of the technology, right?
Absolutely. And ultimately, there's the sustainability issue to this. I mean, hey, if we can reduce travel costs, hey, it's less CO2 in the atmosphere, and everybody agrees that that's a good thing. Hey, it looks good on the financial statement, putting people on buses, planes, and transport them from one end of the world to the other to teach them something they could actually learn in VR. Hey, that's another great thing.
It is.
And of course, it's all about energy reduction as well. Hey, it makes sense. So, I think did that cover why now is the right time to get started, you think?
I think so.
Okay. So the main, I think we're leaning in on 30 minutes here, so I'm going to cut this short and make sure for the break here. So thank you very much, Lasse, for joining me here on the first half of this. I was thrilled. We should do this again, and we should do this more often. Definitely. I hope the audience is with me on that. We're going to be right back with our guest from Isover. So allow us to just put on the pause sign, and then we'll be right back. See you soon. All right. So thank you very much for your patience. That's much appreciated. We're back. We did a swap. Lasse is out, and I think it's fair to say that the replacement is a great upgrade to Lasse. No offense, Lasse. I know you can take it. So let's quick introduce ourselves. Welcome to the podcast, to the webinar today. Please introduce yourself. Who goes first? Yes.
I'll go first.
You go first.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Camilla. I am an operating assistant for improvements at Isovare in Vamdrup. Okay. I've been working for Isovare approximately 16 years now.
Wow, that's a lifetime these days, right?
It is.
Yeah.
So I know the plant inside out, as you can say. So
obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I work exclusively with the improvements, and here I'm working with things like training coworkers or developing procedures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to dive much more into your
One
everyday.
of the projects actually I have worked with is our Loto project, Lockout Tech project, where we have made an development in the training, and I guess we'll talk about
we'll dive into that. Yes,
exactly.
yes. And I'm so thrilled. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's a pleasure. And
Helle, and I work as a training coordinator together with Camilla at Saint-Gobain Isovare Denmark. In the
you're super young in the company, right?
Super young, only 3 years old. So still a newbie at the company. So that's why they have partnered me up with Camilla.
Yeah, okay.
So we make up a great team. Me coming in with some new knowledge, and she knows everything about the plant, so that's great.
Excellent. So like I already said, I'm super thrilled about having you here. Lasse and me, we could talk for hours about how great we think Synergy XR is and how great VR training is and all the stuff it adds to a company like Isovare, but I would much rather have your perspective on it. So we're going to dive into that in just a few seconds. I want to tease, though, before we go, that we actually did a customer success story with you guys, and thank you very much for that. It's available on our website for download, so if you think this is just remotely interesting, go ahead and download that and share that with your colleagues, and we can spread the word of the benefits of VR training. So in this case, we're gonna just zoom just a little bit into what we do with you and how we've kind of helped you guys. This is a visual representation of the Loto training procedure that you're working with. Just to give the audience a smell and a feel of. We're going to share a little video a little later, but I just want to make sure that if someone is sitting out there and thinking, oh, but we don't have a 3D model of that's going to take forever to create something like that. What was the case with you guys? Did you have 3D models of that already?
No. A lot of our machinery is pretty old, so we only have 2D drawings of it, and so we were a bit challenged in how to create some the 3D feeling within a virtual reality training room. So we started out, actually, I think you should explain that.
Yes,
because that was Camilla.
Camilla, what did you do?
I started with actually my phone.
Yes.
Just went out and scanned all the area.
Yeah, with some expensive 3D scanner software?
No.
Okay.
Free software.
Yes. Okay. Leading question. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So and I'll say the turnout was not that good.
Nope.
So we reached out to you guys, and then you got down and you made the scans.
It requires a little bit of practice, but not a lot. Yeah.
And then we got this amazing model of CPAC machinery.
Okay, I think we actually have a picture here that represents both the 3D model, but also the actual model. And the first thing I thought was, okay, in VR, you don't have trash cans or trash bags anywhere. So we have that in real life, apparently.
Apparently we have.
Yes. So one of the great, so again, don't despair if you don't have 3D assets of, and again, perhaps let's just have what are we looking at here? What does this machine do?
The machine here is actually packing our wool. So it's putting like fall around it.
Yeah.
And then just put it out.
And again, perhaps we should just reiterate, what is it that you do at Isover? Wool, it's not for sewing a nice suit.
No, it's glass wool. It is for isolation.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. If you want to know more about that, I'm sure you have a ton of information on your website. So dive into that if you want to save energy and make the world a better place with great insulation, right?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm allowed to do a little commercial here for Isover. Thank you very much for being our customers, by the way. So you did a scan. It turned out to be not the best, but then we have a little practice. So we used, again, some very expensive equipment, an iPhone 13 Pro. The great thing about that is that it actually has a LiDAR sensor. So what you scan is actually pretty accurate in terms of measurements. So it was pretty easy for us to, based on pictures and that scan, to build a 3D model. It's not that time consuming that you might imagine. So there's no excuse for not getting started with using VR for older equipment.
Yeah, but you can also say for the new equipment, because of course we also have a lot of newer machines. Our vendors, they create 3D models.
Yep.
So what we are after doing this project, where people can actually see the benefits of having a nice 3D model to interact with, we are working on a procedure for how to get the 3D models from our vendors in order to create even more VR training, because it's really a great supplement to the rest of our training program to get into a virtual room where you can be really focused.
Yeah.
As you can see, in real life, there are trash cans and everything, and but there are also other noises and cell phones and so on that is disturbing.
Yeah.
You also when you're doing the training.
Yeah.
But in here it's very clean. You are really focused on the CPAC, in this case machine, the packing machine.
Yeah.
Nothing that disturbs you. So it gives you a really a feeling of it's we know the machine, but now I can focus on what to work with it here.
It takes training to a whole another level, actually.
So of course we want to have our new machines also within a virtual reality room for different kinds of training sessions.
So one of the things that Lasse and I covered earlier was it's time consuming if you have to do side-by-side learning. It's also you minimize hazards, work injuries by it's a safe environment to train in, even though you're working with equipment that can injure your body heavily, like cutting off an arm. I think everybody wants to avoid that, right? But we also talked about this whole classroom training that we know there was a picture of a classroom with some very unengaged pupils, second screening, and an unengaged teacher, and people were gazing out of the window and thinking about everything else. In VR, what's the reaction been to actually putting on from the workers that are using this? I think you just talked a little bit about it being completely immersed, and you can't. You can't focus on anything else, but actually this.
They actually that focus that we have learned. They should learn how to use the controllers before we put on the headset, because when they're in the headset, then they're just, whoa, what's here? So we need to teach them how to use the controllers, because a lot of our co-workers, they are not used to using a VR headset. So, but before going in there, we have to train them.
Okay, so I think I know exactly what you're talking about, but I think in order to kind of bring everybody on board, I think I have a little video snippet here of how it actually looks like from a person wearing these glasses. We're not going to see, I think it's like 5-6 minutes, but we're not going to see everything, but just so that the audience also have a sense of what's going on when you put on those goggles. How can this improve me? So I'm going to see if I can start this, and the challenge is usually to stop it again, but bear with me if I'm messing that up, but we're going to try here. So this is the start of the procedure training.
Welcome to practical LOTO training for CPAC.
There's a nice little instruction there. So, okay, I need to go there, yes.
Before starting LOTO for a machine, you must always read the LOTO procedure located by the machine. The procedure is placed on the Lotto board. Press it to take it down from the board and read the instructions.
I'm going to pause for a second there. I know that was very important to you guys to actually have people read those.
Yeah.
Why is that important?
We have about 400 different machines.
Yeah.
And we cannot take all our coworkers through every machine like this. So the training is also for like, you have to read the things. You have to read the procedure. Every procedure is made the same way. So when you learn how to do this, you can do it on every machine. So that's why it's so important for us that they actually took down this procedure and read it.
And in this case, so we can navigate in VR with using a little thumbstick, like you just said, but still it gives this physical sensation of where on the machine, which is rather big, where is the different things. Let's just move a little forward here and see what's going on.
Press it again when you're ready to move on.
Okay, so here we're reading and do we have language versions of this?
Yeah, we have it in Danish, of course, and now we also have some in English.
In English, yeah.
Is to
Okay.
ensure that the machine cannot run. Before we can do that, the machine must be driven to the correct position. This is done at the control panel. Go to the panel now.
So as you can hear, you are being directed in the
There's
right
nice
way.
little arrows on the floor.
Yeah.
There's a little beamer.
Press automatic, oil stretch, and gripper card up or down, depending on which task is to be performed on the machine. In this training, we drive the gripper card up. Tap the panel now to do this.
And this is quite a nice feature. You can see the machine parts moving. That's great.
Yeah. And again, we have little arrows on the floor kind of guiding you.
Yeah. And you can see when you have done this for a few times, then we hope that we can take off all the directions and then just do it like just reading it. And
So we could actually do a test. I'm going to pause it again real quick here. So all the guides, I mean, they're nice to have for the first times, but ultimately you would, if you need certification for people to operate this machinery, you could actually kill all the guides and the arrows and the highlights, go to this, go to there, and have people actually perform the procedure and put a little stamp on their certification mark to actually track, hey, Jacob has now completed this training and he passed, so he's okay to go do maintenance on this. That's I think is a very interesting point of view.
Yep.
So how many people do you have who don't speak Danish on the factory floor? Is that?
I don't think we have.
No,
one.
actually,
We have one.
One, okay.
yeah, we have one, and he's learning Danish. So our company language, you could say, is
Danish.
Is Danish.
Yeah.
But we are part of the global company Saint-Gobain.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of cooperation across borders and a lot of visitors from France and UK and so on. And it is very important that if we have some external engineers coming from France, for example, or that they can also take this training in English.
Yeah.
So that's why it was very important for us to have it in both languages. So, like we said, safety first is our motto, and that's also why we decided this is our first real VR procedure training, and it was very important that it was safety. Because it is the most important thing is that people get home from work safe.
Yes.
And in order to do that, our people need to be competent.
Yeah.
They need to know how to work with our machines. They need to have the safety awareness all the time. So, and one way to learn this is by hands-on.
Yes.
You know, we have to have some theoretical knowledge. We have to have some experience, but the practical training is really important in order for the knowledge to be embedded in our bodies.
Yes.
And that is, as you can see, this machine it's big and it has a lot of energy sources that can really hurt you if you do not do the procedure correctly.
Yeah.
And so that's why it can be difficult to train in real life. Like we also talked about, we're dependent on the machine perhaps being available, but we have production 24/7.
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
and so how can we do this without having waiting for downtime?
Planned or unplanned downtime.
Yes,
yeah,
and but also for people to learn about it in a safe environment.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not a machine you just fool around with, as you can see.
No. I did. I actually did the procedure training, and there's at some point where if you don't put the hanger on right, then I got really scared. Like, because when you have those VR goggles on, your brain just immediately thinks, okay, I'm inside the machine now.
Yeah.
So whether I know that I'm not there, but my brain is fooled. So I got really scared when something just made a big noise right next to me because I didn't do it right.
Yeah, actually, if we go a bit further, then there's a sequel where people are having to open a door.
Yeah.
And when this door opens, they go a bit back.
Yeah. I'm not sure this is.
No,
it,
it's a bit earlier. It's a bit earlier, but
it's just.
Press to remove the plate in front of the view from the beginning.
I think it's a button. Yes, it's coming now.
Go to the door.
Yeah, I did that too. But
you must take an interlock key with you. If there already are 2 people inside the machine, you must not enter. Press the top interlock key to take it.
Yeah, I think it's coming now. Yeah. And then people, they jump back.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. It's crazy because you really think you get hit. Did you consider adding like more graphical effects, like flashing lights, or I mean, because you could in VR, everything is possible, but you didn't come to that yet.
No, it's not necessary.
Okay.
No, it's alive.
It is. Yeah, I completely agree. You don't have to do all that. I mean, having an iron door in your head, that's enough to me. Yeah. Okay, so I have a quick. Let's see if I can move this. I need to go over here and click on this button. Here we go. So I think the ambitions are that you have around 165 people, and you want to put 100 people through this currently?
Actually, we are 230 at our location, but 165 working at the plant side. So that's our target group for this training. Our ambition is that 100 this year. Yeah. Have to go through this VR training. So for those co-workers looking with us at home,
Yeah, I know there's a few.
There's a few. Yeah, so you have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. All right. So I love the ambitions here. That they are hard, they're bold, but hey, that's how you move the needle, right? So I want to dive into the customer case that we did. We have some of your quotes that I think is worth highlighting, and I think we covered a little bit already. But let's just see here. This is Hele. They're able to filter out the world and focus on learning the procedure without us having to stop production for it. Yeah. I think we covered that just a bit. How much time can you reduce by not stopping production to train people? Did you do any calculations on that?
I will say that we do not stop production in order to train, because we produce all the time. So that's why we have to really plan it today. Yeah. And it can be really difficult when we also have shift workers and how to coordinate. Today, you have to be at the same spot at the same time, and it has to be convenient in order to the task we're doing at the time. So it will save us a lot of planning and a lot of retraining and so on. But I have not some numbers for it.
No.
Because what we have really focused on, what's bringing us value for this project, it is safety. It is safety awareness. It's about competence development, both safety but also indirectly some digital competencies, because We have this really ambitious Industry 4.0 program, automation, and really cool digital tools in our production. And our training program should reflect that, and we should also practice with different kind of digital tools in order to, and for all of us, our operators, maintainers, managers, and so on, they have to have a really good level of digital skills today in order to us be also a success today, but also in the future.
We talked about this, and
So that has actually been really our focus, and of course, if I talked to our financial partners, perhaps they could give us some numbers, but I have not.
We did the calculations with Grundfos a few years ago, and they actually were able to reduce the time from 6 weeks to 4 days to be able to operate some special equipment. So that's at least a target you can run with. Hey, we can beat that. Let's go to.
I'll tell that at home.
We'll return to that when we have some solid data to build our case on. Okay, so let's jump to the next quote here from Camilla. The thing that stood out to me was that everyone learned the procedure very quickly, and they were having fun while doing it. I'm curious about the fun thing.
Yeah, but it's just like this whole another world, and everyone is just, there's so much joy and fun and.
What's the typical age of the workers here?
Okay, we have young ones and we have a little older generation, and of course the young gamers, you don't have to support them a lot. They just do it like. They're
born with these controllers.
I think so,
Yes, on their hands.
The older generation have a tendency to have to get a little more support. But they're enormous curious about this and going into it and just like having fun. It takes the training to a whole nother level, as I told before. It's just amazing. It's amazing experience, and just
and I also think that one of the things that we have really focused on is that it should be user friendly, so that both young, older, gamer, non-gamers, they can be with us with this. So it's only 3 buttons. You need to, need to orb, click, and grab. And
that's pretty much
after a couple of minutes, people, they got a hang of it and just went on their own. So that was really cool.
The nice thing here is also that on the platform you can join your coworker in these procedures and do it together. You can also have a trainer with you, so to the support to support the training.
It's everything is multiplayer or multi-use or whatever you want to call it.
And you can also like stream it to a big screen, so everyone else can see what's happening inside. So it's a lot of new perspectives.
And I actually think that has been very productive for us in order for people to get familiar with it, is that we cast it on a screen so they can also see, okay, it's not that dangerous to get these
it can be a little out of my comfort zone wearing those glasses, and will I look stupid and kind of, but hey, but like you said,
we just
2-3
put it
minutes
on Camilla and we put it cast it, and then suddenly people just, okay, I can also put it on, and I would like to help you test it. And so
we have this big yearly kickoff meeting at Isovere, where we are about 120 people, and we actually presented the VI at that, and I was in the VR, and then we got one from the group into the VR too and cast it on the screen. So actually they already have been introduced to this. So, and that makes the training of it easier.
I like it.
And I actually think that's for other companies, is that it's very important to make it easy for people to get to know it. It should not be difficult, because then the non-gamers, they'll do that.
Absolutely.
But until they are familiar with it, then help them make it user friendly, but also involve. Invite people. Okay, I'm doing this. Would you not like to just put it on and test with me? Don't be open and like I said, involve people in it. And you will. we are having fun with it also. So
Yeah.
we love working with it.
That's a great learning. I mean, having fun while you're actually learning is not bad for the learning curve at all.
We often talk about this digital world being very lonely and, okay, then we are just in here and not out in the real world. I think what's really a great feature with this kind of platform is that we can be social, digital social.
Yes.
And that makes it even more fun. So
I love it.
Team building.
Team building.
Team building, yeah. Okay, so there's so much good stuff going on here that. Let's jump real quick because time is flying in good company. I like that, but we could go on for.
You should have invited us only, and not Lasse.
Big mistake. Yeah, sorry, Lasse, but you can take it. I know. So I hope that someone is sitting out there right now and say, okay, so how do we get started with this? And I just want to real quick go through some of the things, and feel free to chime in. Camilla and Helle, there are 4 areas to consider for fast and efficient start. I mean, first of all, don't build everything from scratch. Use an existing platform to build on top of, because then you can reduce the time from great idea. We need to do VR training, and 6 months down the road, you're still not doing it. Yeah. With the platform, you can actually be up and running really, really quick.
I think that helped us a lot that we had this platform and we were able to play and learn with it by ourselves also. So we did not have to call you all the time to say, okay, could you do that and that? No, we actually learned how to use VR by playing and learning on our own within this environment. So that has been great.
So rule number 1, don't build it yourself. Use a platform, right? Assets, we talked a little bit about that. We don't have 3D assets of our machinery. Well, the new machinery we do. Yeah. If you don't, it's okay. Use a phone, free scanner app, and we can build something pretty quickly, or someone else can for you. The team, I mean, we have 2 great sponsors inside Isover who kind of carried the torch for us and with us, and I hope you got all the help from us to here we are today. So I think that's a conclusion that we succeeded together, right?
It's been a good journey,
It has, and it's only just beginning. Yeah. That's what I really love about this. So a team within the company who's, hey, we're going to run with this because we see the value both for safety, of course, but also from a financial standpoint.
Yeah, and it is important that there are some people very dedicated to the work, just as we are a team, but it's not only Camilla and I. No. We involve our colleagues, and it's a team project. Yeah, for it to be a success also in the company.
That's a very very important point, I think.
Involvement.
Yeah. Yes, not just hey, do this. Actually, hey, what do you think about embracing this new technology? Would that be an idea? And of course, the activation, the execution. I think that's pretty much what we're doing here. We've been doing that for quite a long time. So having these 4 areas covered before you kind of start, that will make a swift transition to using a platform. And just real quick, I promised marketing that I will show this slide. If someone's sitting out there, what is the Synergy XR platform? We have tons of other webinars where we go into depth of that. But real quick, it's a cloud-based platform where you can meet in VR. You can also join a session from a PC or your iOS device, whatever you want to. You can share 3D objects, images, PDF files, movies, and so forth. Everything in a secure cloud from Microsoft Azure. So don't worry about your 3D assets. We take good care of your data and make sure that everything is handled securely and so forth. So again, a little earlier, we had the conversation about all the costs implicated with of course, safety. It's expensive to have people being injured on your workplace. Also, production downtime, that's super expensive, especially unplanned downtime. We talked about an automotive car manufacturing line. If it's like $22,000 per minute if it stops. So it's you don't want it to stop unplanned, at least. So there's so many costs associated to this. So getting started with VR training, that's got to be super expensive. Or this is again a leading question. I have a slide that reveals a number, but
you can also say that it's very expensive if you do not take care of your people and you develop the right competencies at your company. So every organization can only exist with the right competent people. So we have to really have a good training program. So
yeah. So the slide that the number I put on the slide this is kind of the starting range where we start, 15,000 euro in this case for building a procedure training like the one we saw. And it's not like a 6 months project. I think we from your first initial idea to your first, like the first draft that we presented to you, was it a couple of weeks where we kind of went back and forth and then we refined it over the next couple of weeks. So 3-4 weeks.
I think 4 weeks. Then we had the procedure. Yeah.
So it's not necessarily something that if you decide to do it today, that's going to be implemented in 2024. Best case, no, it's actually going to be able to. We can implement it in Q1 this year. If you act quick. Okay, cool. So it doesn't have to take a lot of time, right? Okay, so I'm going to circle around. So time is flying here. I'm trying to keep an eye, but hey, you guys are delivering such great points here. So the key takeaways and action points that I want to just round this off with is, if you forget everything that Lasse and I have talked about and the conversation I've had with Helle and Camilla, there should be at least these 3 things to kind of take away from this webinar. Training is ripe for innovation. We're not talking about expensive equipment. We're talking about VR headsets at a couple of €100, 3,000 krona that you can buy in a retail store that we're using. It's not something super expensive or anything. You can reuse all the assets that you're creating for a lot of other use cases besides training. And it's never been easier to start. So bear that in mind. That's super important to kind of take that away from this. And ultimately, we actually built some demos. So if you want to try this and you're thinking, oh, that's going to be expensive. No, it's not. We have free trials. So you can just sign on to our website, log in, log on, and deliver your email address. And then you can try it for yourself to kind of get that muscle memory activation, see how it is, because your brain will fool you and immediately accept that now I'm in a different setting. And go ahead and try that and reach out to us if there's any questions. So on that high note, I think I'm going to conclude this webinar and say thank you very much for listening in and thanks for this time. We're going to return with other great webinars real soon. And while we do that, I think I even have an ending slide here, but I want to go back to what we originally talked about when we first got in here.